Imagine waking up in the year 2030 and discovering that the computer you use every day is running an operating system you never expected. For decades, Windows has ruled the desktop world, while Linux remained the choice of developers and tech enthusiasts. But today, that balance is beginning to shift. Linux is growing faster than ever, Windows is changing rapidly, and the future of desktop computing is no longer predictable. So the big question is this: by 2030, which operating system will actually come out on top? The answer isn't as obvious as you might think. For years, Windows enjoyed an advantage that seemed impossible to challenge. It came pre-installed on almost every new computer, supported nearly every application, and was the first choice for gamers, businesses, schools, and home users. Most people never questioned it because they didn't need to. Windows was simply the default operating system, and that dominance created a habit that lasted for decades. Linux, on the other hand, quietly grew behind the scenes. While desktop users ignored it, Linux became the backbone of the internet. Most web servers, cloud platforms, supercomputers, Android phones, and countless smart devices already run on Linux. Ironically, millions of people use Linux every day without even realizing it because it powers many of the services they rely on. The biggest difference today is that Linux is no longer just winning on servers. Desktop Linux has improved dramatically over the past decade. Modern distributions offer beautiful interfaces, simple installation processes, automatic software updates, and hardware support that rivals Windows. The learning curve that once scared people away has become much smaller than it used to be. Meanwhile, Windows has also changed. Microsoft is focusing heavily on artificial intelligence, cloud integration, subscription services, and connected experiences. While many users appreciate these features, others feel that Windows has become more complicated than necessary. Frequent updates, online account requirements, built-in promotions, and increasing system requirements have pushed some users to start exploring alternatives. One of the biggest questions for 2030 is hardware. Millions of perfectly working computers have already been left behind because they don't officially support Windows 11. If future versions of Windows continue increasing hardware requirements, even more users could find themselves with capable machines that Microsoft no longer supports. That creates an opportunity for Linux, which continues running smoothly on both modern and older hardware. Privacy is another factor that could shape the future. More people than ever are paying attention to how much information their devices collect. Linux distributions are generally known for giving users greater transparency and control over their systems. If privacy continues becoming a major concern over the next few years, Linux could attract an even larger audience looking for an operating system that puts the user first. Gaming has always been Windows' strongest advantage, but even that is beginning to change. Thanks to Valve's Proton compatibility layer and the success of the Steam Deck, thousands of Windows games now run surprisingly well on Linux. Every year, game compatibility improves, and more developers are paying attention to Linux than ever before. By 2030, gaming may no longer be the obstacle it once was. Artificial intelligence could become one of the biggest deciding factors. Most AI development already happens on Linux because developers prefer its flexibility and powerful command line tools. As AI becomes integrated into everything from education to software development, Linux may continue attracting professionals who want the best environment for building and running advanced applications. Developers are already leading this transition. Modern technologies like Docker, Kubernetes, Python, Rust, and cloud-native development all work naturally on Linux. Universities increasingly teach Linux-based programming environments, meaning the next generation of software engineers will already be comfortable using Linux before they enter the workforce. That long-term trend could have a significant impact by 2030. Another area where Linux has an advantage is customization. Windows offers personalization, but Linux allows users to completely redesign their desktop experience. Different desktop environments, themes, layouts, and workflows give users complete freedom over how their computers look and behave. As more people seek personalized experiences instead of one-size-fits-all software, Linux becomes increasingly attractive. Businesses may also influence the future. Companies are constantly looking for ways to reduce costs while improving security and flexibility. For organizations that rely mainly on web applications and cloud services, Linux can be an appealing option because it eliminates licensing costs while offering excellent stability. Although many businesses will continue relying on Windows, others may gradually adopt Linux where it makes financial sense. However, Windows still has enormous strengths that shouldn't be underestimated. Microsoft has decades of relationships with hardware manufacturers, software developers, and enterprise customers. Professional applications like Adobe Creative Cloud, Microsoft Office, engineering software, and many specialized business tools continue working best on Windows. Those advantages won't disappear overnight. The Windows ecosystem is also deeply integrated into offices around the world. Large companies invest millions in Windows infrastructure, employee training, and enterprise management systems. Replacing those environments isn't as simple as installing another operating system. For many organizations, Windows will remain the practical choice well beyond 2030. The future of desktop computing may also depend on the cloud. More applications now run inside web browsers instead of being installed directly on computers. Services like online office suites, cloud storage, video conferencing, and browser-based development tools work almost identically regardless of which operating system you're using. If this trend continues, the operating system itself may become less important than ever before. Another factor that could reshape the competition is open-source software. Every year, more developers contribute to Linux and other open-source projects. Companies that once ignored open source now actively invest in it. Even Microsoft contributes to Linux through projects like Azure, GitHub, and the Windows subsystem for Linux. This shows just how important Linux has become, even to its biggest competitor. One interesting possibility is that the future won't belong entirely to either operating system. Instead of one clear winner, we may see different operating systems dominating different areas. Windows could remain the leader for gaming, business software, and mainstream consumers, while Linux continues expanding among developers, creators, researchers, privacy-focused users, and educational institutions. Both systems could grow in different ways without one completely replacing the other. What makes this competition exciting is that Linux has already achieved something few people believed possible. It is no longer viewed as an operating system only for programmers. Today, students, gamers, content creators, and everyday users are installing Linux because they genuinely enjoy using it. That change in public perception may be the biggest victory Linux has achieved so far. By 2030, Linux will almost certainly have a much larger desktop market share than it does today. Better hardware support, improved gaming, growing AI development, and increasing awareness will continue driving adoption. Windows, however, isn't disappearing. Microsoft has the resources, ecosystem, and experience to remain one of the world's most important software companies for many years to come. So, who will win by 2030? If winning means having the largest number of desktop users, Windows will probably remain in first place. But if winning means growing the fastest, influencing the future of technology, and becoming the preferred platform for innovation, Linux has a very real chance of leading that race. The desktop battle of the next decade won't be decided by one revolutionary feature. It will be decided by which operating system gives users the most freedom, the best performance, and the greatest value. And for the first time in desktop computing history, that outcome is genuinely impossible to predict. That uncertainty is exactly what makes the future of Linux and Windows so fascinating to watch.